What does Pokémon and Sonic the Hedgehog have in common? They both have eggs. Sort of. Have you ever wondered where Pokémon come from? Well, it's more simple than you think. Pokémon who loves another Pokémon so much go to the daycare and then they go on an Easter egg hunt. Once they find an egg, they then give that to the old man outside the daycare. Then he gives it to you. You then walk up and down the street for an hour and then out pops a little Pokémon. One thing that really bugs me is the fact that these eggs all look the exact same in the games. But in the anime, they're uniquely designed for the Pokémon that they hold. Why couldn't they do this in my favorite video game, Pocket Monsters Old and Slither? Well, thank God I'm here to fix that. We're going to make some Pokemon eggs today. Do you like them scrambled or sunny side up? The first order of business is making the shape of egg. We need a really solid template to work with. I'm going to lay my template up in like a very standard 2 rows of 3. That gives us 6 total eggs to make, and I already have an idea of which Pokemon to make eggs for. Disclaimer, they're all pretty much Paldean Pokemon because, I don't know, we just haven't given Paldea much love on this channel yet, aside from the multitude of Convergent and Paradox forms that we've done, but I digress. So for the first 3, we're going to make eggs for the Paldean starter Pokemon. I'm very happy about this because that means I get to do something that fuels my Sprigatito brain rot, and honestly, this is a much more financially stable decision than buying the $100 Sprigatito plush. I mean, I still might buy it, but to be decided. I wasn't 100% sure how to approach a Sprigatito egg at first, but then I thought I could do the little pattern on its face and the little collar thing that's right here. It's looking kinda good, but almost a little too on the nose, if you know what I mean. See, I could just do a basic egg design with the solid color and a few dots in the respective colors, but that's 100% boring, so I will not be doing that. To spice up whatever I've got going on here, I thought I'd do some sicker symmetry work and just make the egg look kind of ornate, kind of like a collectible egg. I feel like that's a thing, right? There are definitely people out there that collect like the designer eggs. They kind of look like they've got the same pattern as like, I don't know, wallpaper. I'm so curious if anyone watching collects those eggs, if they exist. You know, if I'm making it up, then no one's gonna respond. But please let me know if you do. And don't worry, I'm not judging anyone for what they like to collect. Trust me, if you could just see the amount of Pokemon cards I have in storage, you would know I am absolutely in no position to judge. Fuecoco was a little more tricky because aside from the cheese slice on its belly, there aren't really like many design elements that stand out super well. So I might backtrack on what I just said about the boring designs and kind of just do that, but still in a different way because dots really just wouldn't suit Fuecoco at all. Instead, I want to make a pattern that uses these stamps in the shape of the headpiece on Fuecoco and the cheese on its belly. Oof, kind of uninspired, guys. I know, but I'm gonna keep it. Don't worry, once we're on to the next 3, you'll see that I've got big plans for these eggs. I kind of just wanted to use the starters as a sort of launching pad, kind of like a warm-up before we get to the real meat and potatoes. That's a saying, right? I really hope so, but then again, I do just have a tendency to make shit up. Originally for Quaxly, I had the idea of kind of making it look like its face, but it sort of terrified me, like it straight up was just not gonna work, so I pulled back a lot of that inspiration and just did something a bit more simple. I went for this design that both very simply resembles its face, but also kind of resembles an egg timer. It kind of makes sense too, considering Quaxly is a bird and bird eggs are the ones that we fellow humans like to cook and eat. So there's kind of a parallel there. Maybe it's a bit grim, but oh well. I added in the little pattern from its hat and also a blob to represent the beak. Now it's time for us to move on to something a little more interesting. Enter Nacli. How do you say this Pokemon's name, by the way? I say Nacli because it's kind of like fungi, but it's entirely possible that I'm factually and contractually wrong. Shout out to Mike's Mike, by the way. Factually and contractually is just a fire combo of words. This is where things get a little strange, a little less egg-shaped, perhaps pear-shaped. No? Okay. I initially had the rocks as like part of the egg, kind of like an outer shell, but then when I added more details and quite literally got near the end, I realized it kind of just looks like a round Nacli. So I shaved it a bit, made it a bit more Minecraft block squared, and it just looks like the worst redesign of Nacli to ever exist. So, back to the drawing board, I guess. My second idea was lit. Oh yeah, this is the money shot. In my infinite wisdom and with my colossal biggest brain, my massive mind, I thought, how cool would it be if I made Nacli's egg a freaking salt lamp? Oh yeah, fire this is. Wait, did I write that in the script? Fire this is? I sound like Yoda. Is that right? Oh god, I don't know. Please don't hate me for not understanding references that I apparently wrote in my script. Back to my salt lamp. Well, I think this is a much better take on a Nacli egg. It just captures the, oh my god, how loud does your car need to be? That part's gonna be so embarrassing if you can't actually hear the car in the background. Listen closely, you'll hear the humming. Anyways, I think this is a much better take on a Nacli egg. It just captures the spirit of Pokemon so well. I'm kind of obsessed, not gonna lie. I'm blocking in some lighting here because I think I just need to know where it is now, while the shape is still fresh in my mind. And then that way, when I return to do the final render, I'm not left wondering how to draw my own thing. Also, I knew someone who claimed they licked their entire salt lamp clean, like until it was nothing but a light bulb. I'll let you decide if that's even possible. Like maybe, but I'm not buying it. I've just never quite forgotten about that. Now it is time for Glimmet, which was the Pokemon that actually inspired this entire video. I figured that because it is an Area 0 paradoxically slaying forever space flower, it would be in its little flower bulb as an egg before it then blossomed into the beautiful Pokemon that gave me a heart attack the first time I saw it. Something about it just gives me the heebiest of jeebies. So, using the original egg template as a size guide, I've drawn in the bulb shape of Glimmet, which is very handily available on its official artwork here. And also Glimmet and Glimmora have these thick petals, which are very bulbous, unlike a lot of common flower petals, which are normally quite flat. So these petals are going to be enclosed around the root of the bulb and sort of shielding it away from any harm from the cruel outside world, a world that terrifies me greatly. After doing a render mock-up, I saw that the petals were a bit too small, so I put them on a new layer and sized them up so that they fit better with the rest of the design. Now just to give the bulb the correct color and throw in some similar shading just to see if it looks nice at all before heading off to our last design. Not a Paldean Pokemon, mind you, this one is for Cosmog. Now you might be thinking, why? Why would the Pokemon that is born out of thin air needing an egg? Well, the answer is actually a lot more obvious than you may think. See, if we refer to the Pokedex entries of both Cosmog, Solgaleo, and Lunala in specifically Pokemon Ultra Moon version, then you'll see that I just want to. That's the lore accurate reason, by the way. I just want to do it. I just think that if we have Manaphy, which is a mythical Pokemon and has a special egg, then I just really want to do the same for Cosmog, despite it not being a mythical, rather a legendary. But say there was this Cosmog event or something, wouldn't it be cool if it just came in the form of the special egg that you had to nurture rather than just having it appear in your party? I used Cosmoem as my reference since it's already an encapsulated form of the legendary family tree, but I very much simplified its entire design down to its bare essentials. Really, this is just a galaxy-themed sphere which holds one of the most precious space fluffs to ever exist on the planet. Well, actually the galaxy, or universe, we don't know. Of course, we also need to add in the stars because it would not be complete without them. I was a little close to adding in a little body, but that would literally kind of make no sense. However, I did sort of make this kind of embryo thing that sits inside the egg. I mean, that does make sense. It's sort of unsettling in a way to think of this being a totally transparent egg, although sort of a fascinating thing at the same time. Imagine how many views Iono would get on her YouTube channel with the time-lapse video. Super rare Cosmog egg, time-lapse, hashtag not clickbait. One dislike and then a comment saying saying the one dislike is from Lucamine. I could totally see that happening. Radio, with that tangent out of the way, here are my custom-made Pokemon eggs. I'm showing them all at once because I've already spilled the beans on which Pokemon they belong to, and also what the design inspirations are, so we don't really need a slideshow as we normally have in these videos. But please, let me know which one you like the most. I really love reading all of your comments below. Thank you as always for watching my video. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every single Fakemon Friday or Saturday if you live on Mirage Island, just like me. Also, did you ever tell me what kind of eggs you wanted?